Welcome to Ask the Expert North Texas here on News Radio 1080 KRLD. I'm David Rankin.
And I'm Kristen Diaz. All right, they say funnel cakes, Ferris wheels, and flu shots. They said this is the time of year that we should really start thinking about protecting ourselves against the flu with the latest vaccination. We've got from Parkland Hospital, we have Dr. Joseph Chang. He's the Chief Medical Officer joining us on today's Ask the Expert. And Dr. Chang, I kind of like how you guys work that in there. But the fall time really is fair time for us here in Texas. We're actually going to be at the State Fair of Texas this Friday. But you say this is a good time for people to think about the flu.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be at the fair over the next couple of weeks too at our Parkland booth. So please come by and see us. But yeah, absolutely. It's flu season once again. We are starting our fall flu campaign actually this week and next week. You'll be able to get flu shots at all of our COPCs and locations. We push it every year, right? It's the same story. We expect that flu will be a little bit worse this year than it was last year and the year before, mainly because there's less COVID around to fight with flu over the same people to infect, right? And so that's kind of how viruses work. The dominant one always gets the most share. And so last few years it's been COVID, and now we're looking at flu again.
There's a different kind of hesitancy, though, when it comes to vaccines. In the last couple of years, it's been people didn't trust the COVID vaccine,
Right.
might not trust any vaccines. But prior to that, a lot of people didn't want to get the flu shot because they didn't think it would do any good or it would make them sick.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap between those two groups, just just so everybody knows statistically. But I mean, that being said, the thing with the flu shots every year is we have to admit, right? I mean, it is a process to choose which flu strains that we're going to try to protect most against. It's a quadrivalent vaccine every year. What that means is the CDC picks four strains of the most common flu viruses and designs their flu shot against that. It's not a wild guess. It sounds kind of like a wild guess, but it's not. We know that the flu strains that are most predominant in the winter before ours, which is, of course, the southern hemisphere, is most likely what we're going to get because viruses travel around and you get infected, right? And so we do look at what just happened in the southern hemisphere, namely big countries down there like Australia or others in South America, and then we sort of tailor our vaccine to that. It's not always a great guess, right? But most of the time it works pretty well. So that's why you'll see that some years it sort of works better than others. And it's not so much that it's not working, it's perhaps we didn't choose exactly the right viral strains.
Let's talk about also just the fact that fall time is also the season is changing. People start having really bad allergies and sinuses, and that can sometimes make you feel a little achy, not feel so great. How do we differentiate between other illnesses and the flu so that we don't spread it if we start to feel like we're getting a little sick?
I don't know if y'all can hear that. Let me turn that off. Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna have to re-record that
Yeah, it's
portion.
okay. They were early. It's 1:18. What are they thinking?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you want to ask that one again? We can do that on again.
Absolutely. So fall time is also the time that the season is changing. So we start to feel the sinuses and the allergies, and you start to feel a little achy with that as well. How do we differentiate when we're starting to feel like we're coming down with the flu versus anything else to make sure that we don't spread it?
Yeah, I mean the big thing with the flu is that actually is not so hard. You're going to get fever, right? So with something like the flu, you're going to not just feel crummy, but you're definitely going to get a fever. Allergies won't give you a fever. Okay, so that's one of the big differentiators. Now, when we talk about just like sort of the run of the mill cold, sometimes you can have a cold and not have too high of a fever. So that gets a little more confusing. But let's just say this: typically with allergies, you're all stopped up, your head itches, your mouth itches, your nose itches. That's different, right? When we have a cold, generally you're not itching anywhere. You just feel like kind of garbage and everything is kind of hurting, right? So there are slight differences there, though, like you said, the sort of congestion symptoms are all kind of similar. But again, sick, pain, uncomfortable, fever, not sick, itchy, and some of those other things.
Let's talk also. We're talking about getting the flu shot, but there is a way to get both the flu and the COVID shot at the
Sure.
same time,
Yeah.
and it's something that I know doctors are recommending as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just easier to do that, right, guys? I mean, there's really no interaction between the two. Side effects, again, are sort of minimal, mainly restricted to sort of injection site pain or whatever. I just got my flu shot last week, and I can, verify that I, again, whined like a baby when I got it. But really, after that, I really had no more symptoms. And so, yeah, absolutely, get your flu shots. Get your COVID shots. You can certainly do it together, and it's really easier to just go ahead and do that together. And there's no risk in doing that.
And can we do this at the fair? You said Parkland's going to have their booth, or we have to go into like a pharmacy or go to a hospital to get that done?
Well, so the COVID shot we should also have here in the next couple of weeks. That's been a little bit slow in coming because, as probably everyone has heard, the initial one that came out for the fall from both Pfizer and Moderna, they took back and said we're actually going to update this again, and so they've been slower in getting that back out to everybody. That said, CVS, Walgreens, those places already have their COVID shipments, and we are still waiting on ours. So eventually, over the next week or two, we should be able to also give both at once. But we're not going to wait on the flu. We're going to go ahead and give that now and make that available. But if folks do want to wait and get them at the same time, then give it a week or two.
Why don't medical professionals, hospitals, and doctors' offices have similar things that, say, blood banks do, and then have mobile shot clinics, for example, where they bring the shots to you as opposed to you having to go someplace to get it?
Well, that's actually a great idea. We at Parkland actually do that. So a lot of our clinics obviously are in communities already, so they're relatively convenient to a lot of the communities that we serve. But we also do have actually mobile clinics. We have actually 5 of them that travel around the city. They go to sort of prescribed spots, and you can certainly find that on our website if you want. But again, they don't go house to house, but they do go into more neighborhoods than just where our clinics are. So that's something that people can definitely go to our website and look at if they want. But I will say that, there are a lot of home health agencies and things that do go to their specific clients door to door. And that's obviously an awesome service.
My last question to you is, if you're getting the whole family vaccinated against the flu, who's the youngest that can get vaccinated?
So right now you can get all the way down to age 2. And so I think that's going to be your best idea. Age 2 obviously is different vaccinations that are important, like RSV and things like that, depending on your situation. So talk to your pediatrician about that. But really, the vast majority of people should be able to get this flu shot. And yeah, absolutely, goes to family. Make it like a whole family affair. Everyone can have sore arms at the same time.
You talk about RSV. You brought it up. Is the RSV shot something that should be more widespread in use as well?
Yeah, I think this year we're not quite sure what's going to happen yet. As you remember, last year there was a little more RSV than we're used to. I'm not sure what's going to necessarily happen this year, but for certain demographics, that's going to be more important, right? So again, you're immunocompromised, you're elderly, and of course you're very, very young. So those are the groups that maybe would benefit from it. From an RSV standpoint, everyone's sort of healthy, and in between those ages, it's probably something that you can avoid.
Well, of course, we don't want you sick at the fair. Of course, we're talking funnel cakes, Ferris wheels, and flu shots here on today's Ask the Expert. That is Dr. Joseph Chang with Parkland Health. Thank you so much for the time. And the holidays are coming up. Y'all all get fixed up so you don't have to be sick around all your family and friends.
Kristen, there's one more F you forgot there, and that's football, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So everyone,
Texas OU weekend.
That's exactly right. So yes, here we go.
You got it. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great day and see us at the State Fair of Texas.
All right. We'll see you later.